up, my dude?
We're back.
We're back.
Good evening.
How was your hot date?
How are you? Oh, it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
It was. We went out, played some. It's mini golf, but not really mini golf, out in Cultus Lake, and then went out for a nice dinner. And yeah, it was a good night.
Pitch and putt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fun course. I've been there. Right across from the water slides, right? Or pretty close?
Yeah, pretty close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Tap-ins.
Yeah, we got in trouble there for hitting the balls too hard. Whoops.
Whoa.
So weird period because obviously the Canucks came out firing. Shall we start with the ups?
That was the most Canucks period of hockey we've seen in a while. I mean, the ups are they're absolutely putting everything they can on net, which is something we haven't seen in a while. 17 shots on net in the first period, and a lot of them were quality shots. I mean, I think the first 9 shots on net were our first 9 shot attempts. So shots weren't getting blocked, and guys were getting down low and trying to get to the middle. So some really good stuff offensively, and then our power play. That's what happens when you have, 2 different power play units that are just a whole jumble of people that don't play the power play. Like boy, do we need help in that area. You cannot just rely on Hughes. If Hughes goes out, you can't completely blow up both your power play units. Like, everyone looks lost out there. You're better off just playing your 5-on-5 units and taking the man advantage and just trying to get it to the net, because then at least you're playing with some structure. Right now, the power play looks like absolutely discombobulated. No one knows where to go. No one knows where to be. No one knows where to shoot from. Petey's trying his best to get shots on net on the power play, but he's up hovering near the blue line, waiting for Hronek or Myers to dump it off, or whoever, and it's getting caught up in feet, and there's just been no clean passes on the power play yet. So I mean, that there's some big time work to do in that area. That's not a power play that takes you far in any playoff race. So there's some big alarm bells there. Of course, Gibson makes the save of the year on Besser. It's just one of those games where it's like, hopefully the Canucks don't get down on themselves. They're doing all the right things. They just need to keep pressing, and sooner or later, one of these has got to go in.
Normally, I agree with you, because I think we've talked about this before, where it's like, if you don't know what you're doing with your power play unit, then just put out your best line, whoever's going that night. But tonight, it's like the familiarity isn't even there, right? Like, the Canucks literally have an entirely new lineup again, like for the 100th time this season.
Yeah.
We've only played 60 games and we've had 100 different lineups. So I'll give an up though to Lecker-Mackey though. Lecker-Mackey he's out there firing the puck. He got one of the shots on the power play, one of the only shots they got on the power play. He's been looking good. Sound battling on the boards, looking good there. And then the Canucks, that last shift, I'll give him an up as well. 3 block shots on that one shift. Anaheim has only 1 block shot the entire game. So in that one shift, the Canucks had more block shots than Anaheim did. And it was 3 different guys too. Obviously, we're hoping DP's feeling better after limping off for that intermission, but we'll see what happens moving into the second period here, I guess.
Yeah, he's a pretty tough kid. That was a rough period for him there, taking a pretty high stick / punch to the face from Gudas when he drove the net. But it's good to see him getting involved offensively and having that confidence to push down towards the net and getting a really good scoring chance. So I'd love to see more of that out of the kid. He looks really good out there so far. He did make one mistake, but then he kind of made up for it, got the puck back and recovered. That's the good thing. There's no panic in the kid's game, and I think that's the biggest thing that Tocchet has noticed as well. I mean, he's playing in Hughes' spot. Like, no one else got bumped up. They went straight to DPD and threw him with Hronek and said, "Give her, kid." It's pretty clear that he's not going down back to the minor league team. It's going to be pretty darn tough, which is a little unfortunate, because he's probably going to max out his games for his eligibility for the Calder Trophy next season, this year, which is a bit of a bummer, because I'd really love to see what his stats would be after a full season in the NHL.
It's supposed to be, what's that, 25 games or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he's at 10 now.
Yeah, and so yeah, 10 now, and there's 22 games remaining. So if he plays 15 of them, then him and Lekkerimäki both would. There's potential for them both to lose their Calder eligibility next season.
Petey answers the bell, comes out, does an interview, essentially apologizes for being a little testy with the media the other day and saying they're annoying. Poor Ian McIntyre. I'm sure his feelings are very hurt. What did you see from Petey today meeting with the media, and did you like what you heard?
Well, you absolutely like to hear him taking some accountability for the struggles this year. Obviously, he wasn't blaming the media. Like he said, like, I just missed a breakaway. We lost a game we needed to win. Like, I was frustrated, and you're in my face asking me all these questions. Of course, it's frustrating to deal with the media, but you know, there's no context written in the article about that from the little quote dropped by Mr. McIntyre. And he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew that this would get everyone fired up in the media. And also the fans would get their back up and say, oh, another excuse for Petey, this, that, and the other thing. And then when Petey explains himself, McIntyre says, oh, I'm happy that he explained the context of that because he got some heat that was undeserved. And it's like, well, you caused the heat. You realize that, you troll. Just one of those. It's no wonder he gets frustrated with the van media. It's just the constant clickbait article crap. But anyways, back to Petey. Really good stuff. I mean, that's what you need to hear from him, and we've heard it kind of all season. Like he said, look, I know I need to play better. I want to play better, and I'm trying to get there. But with all of the negativity that has been thrown his way this year, I think it was refreshing to kind of feel like he got sat down in the right way with some management or some coaches, and everyone kind of talked it out, like what's really going on, and how can we all work together, and it just seemed like a different Petey than we've seen the last couple of weeks. It was nice. I know he was probably frustrated with how things went at the Four Nations. That was national media kind of crapping on him during that time, saying, oh, he's still kind of useless out there, not getting any points. And this guy's fighting hard. Even Jake DeBrusk came out on in an interview that was released either today or yesterday, saying he's the hardest working guy on the team at practice, and he's one of DeBrusk's heroes. Like, that's really high praise from a teammate, right? Like, he gets a bad rap in the public for being intense and being so focused, and that kind of makes him seem like he has a bit of a sour attitude. But really, the guy is just so competitive that he wants to win, and he wants the fans to understand that he wants to win, and he wants to do his best for them, and he doesn't feel good about his game, and he gets it. Like, you don't need to tell him. He understands. But maybe some positive support for him fighting to get his game back is what the fans need to give. And that's kind of what we talked about the last time you and I were on together, was the constant negativity is draining. And it's hard to get out of bed every day with that kind of negativity surrounding you. So it was nice for him to put it aside. I think it probably came to a bit of a head when it started kind of getting rumor milled that he didn't really get along with the Sedins. And it's like, well, that just doesn't make sense. There was a video clip of him practicing for like an hour and a half with just the Sedins like a month ago. And then working one-on-one with Talkin in practice. Like, the guy is coachable. He just works so damn hard and wants it so bad that I think it's a confidence thing in between the ears. And when it clicks, I think there's going to be a lot of people eating their words.
I can't wait. I'm so hungry.
Oh man, I have been a big defender of Elias Pettersson. And it's more as a father trying to understand the mentality that he's going through as a young man. Just at that age, it's not easy. And we weren't exposed to the type of social media stuff he's exposed to every day at that age. It was just kind of starting to take off when we were in our mid to early 20s. So I think it's really commendable for him to show that kind of maturity and come out and just say the things that needed to be said.
I was gonna say, we talked about this when I was in my 20s. I was drunk, and when we did the members only stream the other day, everyone saw it because I played a video of me just like hammered, running around dancing. So that's what happens when you watch the members only stream, though.
Yep.
Canuck or Curb. So we're gonna do a quick little segment. I'm gonna name a Canuck, and you're gonna tell me if by the trading deadline Friday afternoon, will they be a Canuck or will they be kicked to the curb? So let's start off with the man, Petey. EP40.
He's going to be a Canuck.
Yep.
You can't give up on the kid. The organization has stood up for him. After this most recent interview, it just feels like they have kind of sat him down and given him that vote of confidence, and said, ignore the negativity. We get it. We know your work ethic, and that's all that matters is inside these walls. And it was good because they probably said, look, you do have to be a little better with the media. Like, that's part of the territory. As hard as it is, we support you, and that's what's important. So I think he feels refreshed and feels like the organization is behind him, and he's definitely not going anywhere.
Number 2, Suter.
Suter's one of the ones I think is probably gone. He's a very valuable rental for teams that are looking for depth in the center position. The Canucks have a lot of depth centers in the minors that can come in next year in the third, fourth line role. With the trade for Hedel, that pushed Suter further down the depth chart right now, and the Canucks are looking to get another top 2 center, which would again hurt Suter's depth. So I would not be surprised if they try and move him for, maybe a pick or something they can weaponize in another trade, with a player to kind of get that impact centerman with term already signed, from a team that's looking to kind of rebuild or retool as well.
Brock Besser.
I just really don't think the Canucks and him are on the same terms when it comes to contract dollars and term. So I think that he is the big piece that will be moved for a centerman. With Matthew Tkachuk being out long term in Florida and Tampa Bay kind of adding Yanni Gourde and Oliver Bjorkstrand today, there could be a potential there for maybe a Suter going there with a Brock Besser, for a Sam Bennett in return. That would help the Canucks center issues with a little more size and a bang and crash style to come in and free the puck up for people like Petey and DeBrusk. Also, everyone's kind of waiting to see what happens with Rantanen. Mm-hmm. He's the big domino that everyone's waiting to fall. If he really is not going to re-sign in Carolina, he will be obviously on the move, and that will cause some form of chaos in the trade market for sure. So we'll have to see where that leaves the market for Besser once the dust settles on all the Rantanen drama.
Yeah. So far, Petey stays, Suter's gone, Besser's gone. And this one, probably the least important of the 4 I'm going to give you, Carson Soucy.
I think the Canucks would like him to waive his no movement clause. Like we've said, recently they've become extremely deep on that left hand side, and Soucy is kind of no longer needed. Also, he's kind of been talked about as well as Forbort. Him and Soucy kind of, because Forbort doesn't have a no move clause, he could maybe be moved out. And then Soucy, you just kind of let his contract finish out for the year. But if Susie is willing to waive his no move clause, I wouldn't be surprised if he was also included in some sort of package deal. There's always teams out there looking to add depth on defense, especially ones looking to make a deep run in the playoffs.
I mean, technically, Susie can play both sides too. So, I mean, maybe not well. It's like me singing, right? I can do it, but maybe not well.
Yeah.
So Rick Tocchet today, well, it's kind of a discussion that's been going on since they had the 3 days off. Rick Tocchet talked a couple times, and essentially what he was saying is they're trying to decide what they're going to do with Hughes. Obviously, he got sat down tonight, but also said that what he's dealing with now is not the original oblique injury, but is more likely a result of him overcompensating with his oblique. Blah, 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 blah. Might shut him down for 7 days, question mark. What are your thoughts on this situation? Because it doesn't seem like maybe Quinn Hughes doesn't know that his body needs rest, and the Canucks are essentially saying, listen, bro, sit down and get better. Or is it just something that he's going to have to deal with all the rest of the year, regardless of whether he rests?
That's a wow.
Loaded.
Well-framed question. Well-framed question, sir. Wow. So I don't think they should have brought him back yet. I mean, if he was needing to compensate that hard that it would cause a different injury, again, we go back to a discussion we had the last time we were together about the medical staff and how they've made some questionable decisions with injuries in the Canucks and coming back too early. We kind of look at all the things that have happened with Demko this season, and with his attitude, to me, seemed like he felt maybe a little pressured back into the net at times.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough. And Hughes, he's a dog. He's a competitor. He wants to play. So of course he's going to tell you he's good to go. But at the end of the day, our medical staff needs to be more responsible with some of these injuries. And I know that our owner is desperate for some playoff revenue, but at the risk of losing the entire future of your franchise, we got to be smarter when it comes to Hughes. And I think holding him out for a week is smart. That, again, is tough when you're in this tight of a playoff race. So it's really, like I said, it's a tough question, man.
Balancing it.
I really don't know. I really don't know what the answer is. I think it everyone's playing hurt at this time of year. But obviously, if it's something that could threaten a long-term injury, you got to keep him out.
Didn't quite get to the Abbey Canucks. We'll do that in the post-game show because the puck just got dropped for the second period. So enjoy the second, third period, brother.
You as well. We'll talk to you post-game.
Nothing is perfect.